some old Blender. So we're doing some animation inspired by Critical Role and Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm just gonna start with a little warm-up in case people are new. This is gives a good idea of what we're working on. So we're basically taking a model such as this monkey head, which comes with Blender. Turn on the screencast. So we take a model, Shift A to add a model. So we can add a flat 2D plane, a cube, spheres, cylinders, a torus, and one of them is a monkey head, which they named Suzanne. So we're just going to take this monkey head, Shift A to add an armature. And you can see now we have a bone. Go here to the properties, turn on X-ray so we can see it. And just move it up. Tab, go into edit mode. This bone and duplicate it. I hit X to lock it to the X-axis. Then you can grab these arrows, we'll lock it to this axis. Alright, top view, just to make sure we get it in the right place. Rotate it on the Y-axis. So you see the X-axis is left and right, Z is up and down, so Y is coming at us or away from us. Alright, E to extrude. Something like that. Should get it in the ear. This bone again for eyebrows. Rotate Y-axis. E to extrude. Something like that. And I'm going to select all of these bones, change my pivot point to the 3D cursor, which is here in the center. So now all of my translations will pivot around the center. So we're going to duplicate and scale on the negative, on the X-axis. So to scale X-axis, -1. So we duplicated it and scaled all the information on the X-axis. So this way across the screen, and basically inverted it to mirror. So then change our pivot point back to individual. This bone again, bring it down to side view, put it in the lower jaw. So I'm going to duplicate this bone. You see this dotted line shows the parent relationship. So this bone that's highlighted is a child of this bone. Or it would be, yeah, it's actually this bone. So, I'm going to duplicate this, bring it out towards the front. I'm going to rotate on the x-axis, like that. Put it up in space. I'm going to duplicate this bone. Just bring it straight down. Back a little bit. Rotate x-axis. So now it's got a little mouth. Bring this down a little bit more. Something like that. Alright, so now go back to object mode. We're going to select our mesh. And select the armature. Control P brings up the parent options. We're going to armature deform with automatic weights. So it will assign a weight value, basically a percentage, for each bone on a, you can see the geometry in this mesh. So for a given set of vertices, a bone will be assigned a weight value. So if we can actually look at that, so we have this bottom bone right here selected. So the red area is basically 100% weight, and the blue areas out here are 0. basically, again, we are taking this mesh, which would have texture on it, give it color, shadow, textures, we call it. So the textures are your skin. Then we give it a skeleton, and then we use the skeleton to pose, and we save the poses in a sequence, and that makes an animation. So we want to go to our intro file. This is basically going to be the first scene. You see here. Let me turn my screencast keys on again. So I have an armature here. There's an add-on in Blender called Beautify. That gives you some basic armatures. This has a lot more bones in the face than what we did for Suzanne. This will allow us to get pretty detailed facial expressions and stuff. This is actually the cat armature that I was retrofitting for a bear mesh. So we'll be working on trinket. I'm familiar. Show that follows a D&D campaign. They're all voice actors, so all the characters have unique voices and stuff. It's really a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, when I was a kid, I heard the horror stories of the DMs that just want to try to kill the party on the first battle, but they don't play it like that. They actually try to make a campaign out of it. In the first campaign, there was a character that was a ranger, and she had a very basically it's setting up a walk cycle and a run cycle that we can use and iterate later, so we don't have to set them just once. We have a clear walking reference. Using this reference image, basically going through some moves and setting keyframes and turning that into a walk animation. So start in the side and my changed pictures on me for some reason, so I'm gonna get that again. And Blender has this handy tool called the grease pencil. So you can see I already have a standing pose, so we're going to go 5 frames out. And it's basically both legs on one side come up. The front leg is going to go back a little bit. So with grease pencil, basically the feet are going to be kind of arcing like this. Kind of like that. And up here to, yeah. Alright, so then we want to go to the next frame. And this paw is going to be in the front. And this paw is going to be down. Something like that. Go back to this frame. Bring this sip a drink. Just legs out. Fix a lot of this stuff because basically when you walk, you plant all of your weight on this side, and then it's planted on the ground. So there's rotation in your body. Same as bears. bones and basically added some handles so that I could use one bone and do multiple
When
things.
your superstar best friend's been footing the bill for 15 years, your life is pretty
This
sweet.
frame here.
Until he dies.
You guys need to take care
This
of yourselves.
bone is
What?
gonna be down
Now,
on the ground.
they're moving back home.
My house always been
So I
this
can
small.
use this bone to move the whole leg.
It's been a rough week.
Use it to rotate the claw.
Adam Pally and Sam Richardson
So I
star in the
only have to
hilarious new
record the
YouTube
data
Originals comedy,
for one bone.
We could be unstoppable.
Champagne Ale.
Instead
Watch all
of
episodes
all of
now
these
only on
bones. So that
YouTube
would be
Premium.
1, 2, 3, 4 bones plus the rotation of the hand. So you can see it's quite simplified with this custom controller rig. So you can see this bone is yellow. That means it has an IK bone constraint. It's one of the properties that you can give to a bone as a constraint. And one of them is inverse kinematics, which is what causes the bones to fold up the way they do. Where's this? So let's finish those. Take the grease pencil. Looks like this pose, the back leg is basically going to be under the tail. So that's going to move backwards. And this is going to these feet come together. This out a little bit. Just tweak it a little bit. Take our grease pencil and just mark where all the buttons are. Just got to swap everything from right to left to position the part. Grease pencil. This one. Each dot is where the foot should be. That's where the center of these handle bones should be. Alright, so then we go back to this frame and it deleted our dots. That's good. Delete our dots. There's gotta be a way to save it. Because that really sucks. Alright, so I have this bone selected. I basically want it to be right here. In line with that one. So I'm going to move it up. starting to move back a little. Making its way forward, not that select all of these, duplicate, go to 45, front leg is doing some weird stuff. Take a 5-minute bathroom break, and I shall return. this house, so I might not stream a full 2 hours this time. But we did get something done, so that's cool, that's cool. Scaling operates off of where the marker is, so if I put the marker here, the scale is going to scale out in that direction. So I'm going to put the marker at the beginning, playhead, or whatever you want to call it. Scale everything back out. Change this to 38. And I'm changing this is the end frame. So I'm making the end frame our last keyframe, which we duplicated from our first keyframe. So it will loop back around to the same frame and loop the animation about as seamlessly as it can be. Still, we still gotta tweak it a little bit. Like I said, there's points like when the left feet are on the ground. Hey, welcome back, Dill. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. So when the left feet are on the ground, the body's gonna kind of roll to that side. So we're gonna pause this. What happened to my music? Can you hear the music? Or is it too low? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is my mic too low? Or is the music too loud? Still trying to find that sweet spot. Alright, let me turn that down a little bit. Can you still hear it? Can you hear the mic? Or am I talking to myself? Alright, so we're working on Trinket at the moment. We used a cat armature from Rigify. So if we go to object mode, if we add an armature, Rigify gives us a cat to start with. I modified it a little bit, like it had 4 or 5 bones coming out for the tail. I just deleted those and put a little nub. Basically tried to rig it up like I did my humanoids, so I could control it the same way. We just finished our walk cycle. Well, it's not finished, but got that going. You didn't see the last one, so we did get a little bit farther with that. go ahead and save this. So towards the end of the last stream, I went ahead and got some more armatures. So you can see we got a couple of gnomes, the 2 elves. This is Trinket. One of them will be Clarota. This one, big one's Grog. I'm gonna save this file and go back to the one I was working on last time you were here. So we got this going. So we gave Vax his own sneaky walking animation. We got the troll doing the face plant. So yep, it's coming along slowly but surely. So now we're working on the intro scene, so getting all of the characters with their basic walk cycles, and then the opening scene is going to be just them kind of walking through the environment with a camera pan shot, looking around at the environment, and then maybe they all walk by single file so you can see who they are. Give Clarota his own menacing music. Foreshadowing. So yep, I'm gonna we used a reference image. So I used this image to set up the walk cycle for Trinket. Basically just set keyframes with all these different poses. And string them together. Just debating whether I'm going to do a run, which I probably don't need, or just go ahead and do walk cycles for the rest of the characters. Go ahead and do that, and I should be able to take the walk cycle that she doesn't have a regular one though. Damn it. Alright, I guess I'll just start with Grog then. So we're gonna take Grog's armature, put it on its own layer, that doesn't already have something on it. So now we can just see Grog. And just for reference, I'm going to make him a pole weapon. So we're going to Shift A, add a cylinder, and it added it at the origin. I'm going to scale it on the X-axis. Scale it on the Y-axis. And then I'm just going to scale it down a little bit more, and then scale it on the Z-axis to make it longer. So now I can use this basically as a reference for where I want his hand. So if he got it up on his shoulder, his hand would be in a certain position. And if you can have people holding things and not moving bones around, it makes it a little bit easier to animate. So then I would just have to worry about the legs. Alright. So let's... and it might not be going till 10 o'clock again this time. But we'll go for a little bit more. Go back to 0. delete all of these. We're going to clear all of the translations. Okay. I guess we'll start with the legs. It's the most important part of the walk cycle, I guess. So just and we're just gonna mark it so when we do the switch for the other side, we should be able to just put them there. This thing I forgot about the grease pencil. It draws at the cursor, so I got to set the cursor to selected. And now when I draw with the grease pencil, it will draw it right there. So I'll do another one on this bone. Draw a little dot right there. I'm not going to worry about the arms right now. So then this leg. Ah, damn it. Put that back. Alright, then go to the next frame. Draw these in first. Do the same thing here. Alright. Then we're going to set up our next pose. It's going to be one leg out front, one leg in the back. Select that bone. And curl the toes up. Next frame, I'm going to go ahead and draw a little marker right there and right here. And it's still not saving my marks or something. But go back to here. I want this bone to be about right there. Back a little bit. How you been? Still watching? Did you have a good Christmas? I don't have a troll walk. I kinda dissected that animation to do the falling animation. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Once I get this set up, then I can use it for the other characters. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Alright, then we go next frame. I don't know why I won't carry my grease pencil. Yeah, same, had some good food, saw my fam. Got New Year's plans? Yeah, I hear you. I usually don't make it to see the ball drop. It's still just the day after yesterday and the day before tomorrow. Just another one. It's kind of how I feel about birthdays. I haven't really got excited for a birthday in a long time, you know. Everybody has birthdays. Kind of takes some of the fun out of it. Alright, then I think we want to I hear you. You going to college? I have no idea what that is. It must be a UK thing. Is that like levels of Saiyan power? Is that like a form of like advanced education beyond high school? And I'm not sure what you mean by A levels. We basically just had, well, kindergarten through 12th grade. So it's 13 years and then college. If you so choose, which I unfortunately did not until later on. Alright, I think I messed up somewhere. So then this should be a switch. Okay, I got you. So it's broken up into like 2-year things. Ah, okay. Kind of like, so we have AP or advanced placement. It's kind of like so when you're in high school you can actually get college credits if you take the courses. When I was a kid, up until I became a rebellious teenager, I was in this thing we had called the Talented and Gifted program, TAG, but it was for people who had like proficiencies with reading and arithmetic. I've always been really good with numbers. I remember when I was in 3rd grade, we basically had like 2 different sets of math students, and one group of students was like learning at a certain point in learning arithmetic, and then I remember we were working on multiplying double-digit numbers, or multi-digit numbers. That was probably the hardest time I had in math. And I'll tell you something else that got me. It was also in the third grade. We were doing greater than and less than, and that threw me at first because I was just thinking to myself, we cannot be possibly just trying to figure out which number is larger than the other number. It can't be that easy. There has to be a trick. Alright, so right here should have been a switch. So yeah, that should have been a switch. Yeah, statistics throws people. Here's how I do, like, statistics, I know isn't exactly the same as percentages, but it deals with percentages. So you're taking a sample size, which is a percentage of a population, and then certain percentages of that sample size, blah blah blah. So like with percentages, it's really easy to deal with tens and hundreds, right? So I take the original number and figuring out what 1% of that number is. So say you want to figure out what 7% of 752 is. So 1% is 7.5 basically. So 7 of those would be 49, like 52 or 53. So you just take 1%, which would be 7.52, and just multiply that 7 times. You could do that in your head because you're dealing with, like I said, tens and hundreds. And the zeros make it really easy to keep track of and do computations on. And like multiplying multi-digit numbers in your head, I kind of do the same thing. So like 42 times 37 is basically the same as 40 times 30. Yeah, the binomials and the polynomials. Yeah, like I said, I took a little bit of college so far. My favorite class, honestly, was philosophy. Yeah, calculus, I had to work hard to get a good grade in that class. What's going on? What the deuce? Welcome to the stream. Dill, if it takes forever for me to get the meshes for this animation, you can blame what the deuce. Come on, man. Math rules everything around us. Math is how Blender works, man. Alright. So this should be crossing, so this bone probably should actually be like that. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was another problem I had in school, the show your work thing. It's like, why? I don't need to. That was one thing that really saved me in calculus was you can plot everything onto a graph, and so you can visualize it a lot easier and that can really help you infer the answers. Like I said, that saved my butt on quite a few calculus tests. Alright, so then this should actually be one of these. So I guess you made it out to the dungeon, Deuce. Dill, this is my brother. What the Deuce. He's the one doing the models and stuff. He's the one that made that troll model. This troll model here, he's the one that made that. He doesn't make crappy stuff like I made on this cart. You like my programmer art cart? It's actually all one cube object. Yep. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what we get for the characters, because I know it's going to be nice. Yeah, I've actually got this mesh that I've used on some older animations. Deuce made this one too. It actually works fairly well, especially if you're just starting out practicing. So it's just like an idle animation I made. Again, I use a bow staff because it's an extremely simple weapon to make. It's just a really long cylinder. And you can see we got the same setup with the controller bones and stuff. But yeah. So now, let's see if I can finish Grog. Alright, so we actually want this. Alright, so this frame should actually be the same as the first frame. Thank you for the 10 out of 10 on the cart. Again, as I've admitted, I am not a modeler. Alright, so we're gonna take our leg IK bones. Let me just tidy up this animation, Deuce. And I'm gonna head on over there. Where's my other leg bone at? Oh, there it is. And this one, I'm gonna duplicate those, put them right there. Set it to 20. See what happens. So he's walking really fast, but he is walking. So we're gonna put the playhead at the beginning, select all, and we're gonna scale it out to 35. I keep forgetting to turn on my screencast when I change. Boop, boop, boop. And then that looks a little better. Whoa. because this needs to be 35, not 25, 35. What? 35. What is going on here? There we go. That looks a little better. You see our random grease pencil spots. Yeah, save this. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Blender 2.8. That is going to be pretty sweet. Yeah, just get rid of the grease pencil layer. But yeah, so you didn't see my trinket, did you, Brian? This is our wannabe bear. It's a cat right now. It wants to be a bear so bad. So, right. That's what I figured. Just some bulbous appendages probably work just fine. Yep. So we use this to reference our keyframes. And I did, it did come with like 5 or 6 bones for the tail. I just deleted them and put a little nub. So, yep. Got that. And we just got this guy. So we're gonna clean him up some more. Set walk cycles for the rest of them. And then we'll be able to set up the intro scene where they all, it's basically like a camera pan environment shot where they walk across. So getting there. I did do, I started working on this cat armature last stream, but I didn't want to take a bunch of stream time just making the armature. I've already done a couple of those. But yeah, so I finished up the armature and then started working on the animation. Yep. Yeah, 9 characters. And one of them, this is the one I named for the character, but one of them is going to be a mind flare. I'm not sure exactly how their appendages work. I think there's some dangly bits on the face. I'm not sure if they, because it's my understanding they just kind of float around. The red circles are my controller bones. So I took this bone, which is actually the base for the whole armature, and I duplicated it and gave it a different shape. So now I can, oh crap, I just screwed that all up. There we go. But, so now, let me turn off the record button. So now I can use this bone to rotate the armature around and stuff. Same thing with these, all the circular bones. So I can use this bone. Let's see, I had one set up to copy rotation. Where did I put that? But yeah, so I, like for this bone here, if I take this into pose mode, you can see this green bone is the parent for all the bones that have a line attached to it. So I duplicated it and gave it a different shape so I could see it outside of the mesh. And so I can use that bone to control the armature, rotate it in different directions, and like I said, same thing for these blue circles. Oh, there's my copy rotation. Nope, that's IK. But, oh, I've got it on trinket. So on trinket, you can see his paw. So I've got this bone that will do the whole leg, so I can move the whole leg around. But then it will also, if I rotate it, rotate the paw. So then in the dope sheet, Blender only has to record one bone, and I can change the pose pretty drastically with just recording one bone. So that's why I did that. You know, I could just use this armature that they give us with all these triangular bones, the pyramid bones. But that's a lot of bones to try to control. And when you're posing bones, you can only rotate them. So that's why I added these, because now I can move these around. They're not just stuck to a rotation. So that's why they all have the red circles. And then the green circle is just so I can pose the armature, and then I can move it around without disrupting the pose. So all of the bones, all of the necessary bones are parented to this green bone. And so they won't move, they just stay in the same relation. Yeah, so they stay in the same relation with this green bone, so the pose is maintained if I move it. And then with this bone, since all of the IK bones are not parented to this bone, like the hands can stay in place. So like if I want to climb up on a ledge, I can adjust the body and the hands will stay where I want them. Like if I have them posed, like grabbing on to something, then I can move the body around without changing where the hands are and stuff. It's just some stuff I've picked up from practicing, watching some videos. Born CG has some good videos. Blender Guru doesn't really do animations, but he does have really good videos about using the interface and going through some of the different tools like the node editor for adding textures and stuff. Yeah, and then I can actually, so like for this bone, or say for the spine, so I have this bone right now, just rotates this one bone, and so all the other bones just follow along with it because they're parented to it, except for this bone, because this bone only copies the rotation of this bone. But I can set these other two bones that aren't green, and they can follow the rotation of this bone as well. But you can set the scale so like it would turn this bottom bone at 100%, maybe this bone at 75 and this one at 50, so it would give kind of like, with just rotating this bone, it would cause the back to do like an arch motion instead of just folding at the hips. See right now, if we just do this, right now Grog, you know, he pretty much just folds backwards right where the pelvis is. But if I added rotation to these two bones, it would give it more like an arc shape. I don't think for this animation going into that much depth would be necessary. Yes, again, without even having my red rings here, I could do that stuff just with this bone if I took the constraint off. So let's see it with this. So I can still use this bone the same way. But again, if I wanted to do an arcing, like a back arch or like leaning backwards to dodge something, then I would have to rotate this bone and then come down here and rotate this bone and then come down here and rotate this bone. to make the shape that I wanted. So this is actually a bone. So this bone is actually constrained to copy the rotation of the bone that I give it, which is this red ring. So, yep. I think that's going to do it for this stream. So we got Trinket walking, we got Grog walking, kinda, sorta. We'll fix his hands next time. If I don't stream tomorrow, I definitely will Sunday. Maybe longer. I might start earlier, sometime in the afternoon. Have to see what happens. Hopefully I'll see you there. Thank you again for coming back by and hanging out. It's awfully nice of you. Hope you're not sacrificing too much to do it. If you want to get on with Blender, it's totally free, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you have an interest in seeing things come to life. Like I said, I've got ideas for more Critical Role stuff. There's a book series called Dragonlance. I don't know if I told you about that already. But that is a book series from like the 80s or early 90s that was also based on a D&D campaign. And they were really, really well written. They're awesome books. Yep, so I guess thinking about doing stuff like that. I hope you have a good new year if I don't see you between now and then. Stay safe. I will catch you later.